Okay, welcome to the Discover the Power Sawtooth webinar. We're going to have our Discover team is all here. Not all here, but a lot of members of our Discover team are on the call and you'll be able to meet them. And we're going to show you latest things that we've added to Discover. We're excited about that. Some of you were able to fill out this holiday treats survey before you came. I thought it was kind of fun. One of our users down in Australia, Karen, wrote, and she says, it's tough to go through, these baked goods and thinking about, hot ovens and hot cocoa and stuff because it's super hot down there in Australia. She says, you're mad to put the oven on in Sydney at Christmas. Most memorable is a morning swim, cold seafood buffet, and a bathtub full of ice and drinks. So things are nice and hot down under. So anyway, welcome everybody. Let's just cover some of the. Hopefully you can see my screen and everything. Cover some of the rules of the webinar. So we like that you use Zoom, the Q&A section at the bottom of Zoom here to ask any questions. Feel free to ask them during the presentation. We may answer them as we go along, and at the end, we'll have some time for Q&A. And then we always send out the recording of the webinar to everybody who registers. By the way, if you're interested in this sample survey that we did with the holiday treats, let us know and we can send you a copy. Just some upcoming events here at Sawtooth. We have an in-person workshop down in warm Orlando, Florida. Our president, Brian Orm, will be presenting optimizing features and pricing using survey research. So it should be a great workshop down there. I encourage you to sign up for that. And the URL here at the bottom of the screen is where you can find more information. On January 23rd, we'll also be having another one of these webinars. Keith Sean, head of our consulting group, will be presenting Do Segmentation Like the Pros. So check that out. Hope to see you there. And then please get on your calendar May 7th through 9th down in New Orleans for the Sawtooth Research Conference. If you haven't been to it, it's great. Highly recommend you come and come with us down there in New Orleans. Just a little plug for Sawtooth software. If you haven't tried us out, I encourage you to check out our tools. We have powerful survey platforms that can do all types of surveys. We are especially good at conjoint analysis and MaxDiff. Easy to use. We have incredible support if you haven't experienced that. And you can try us out for free at discover.sawtoothsoftware.com. Another little fun thing I'm going to throw in the mix here is get a Sawtooth t-shirt. We can give away some. Not everybody who enters will get one, but maybe the top 3 or 3 to 5 that email us, we can get a t-shirt out to. We would just like your ideas on how we can grow Sawtooth and Discover, any feature ideas that you have, any marketing ideas, etc. We will send out some shirts. And let's see here. Let me just turn on my camera. Here's the shirt. So, boom. There you go. Send you one of those. Okay, with that, we are going to get started. And if everybody can turn their cameras on the team, that would be great. And I'm going to, yep. Anyway, so here, this is not everybody on our team, but some of our leaders and key people. And so thanks for coming, everybody. And this is a chance for you, everybody, to get to know our team. And we'll turn it over to Nate and Skylar. Take it away.
Hey everybody, I'm Nate. I'm one of the user experience designers at Sawtooth. And I've worked for the company for, it'll be 6 years this coming year. And in my spare time, I have been reading novels recently and starting to learn a little bit about 3D printing. Um, my colleague will introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. I am Skylar Karchner. I work with Nate as another user experience designer working on Discover. I have been at Sawtooth for just about 4 years, and one of my favorite things is musicals. I love all of them. I'm off to LA this weekend to see my next one, so I'm excited for that. Um, Today, I'm going to start with showing you the redesign of the Discover authoring interface. We've been working on Discover for several years, and this year we really wanted to kind of take a look at where we have come with the software and kind of work with users and kind of see if there was any refinements that we could make. And so, based on all of the conversations that we had, we came up with this new redesign that would help users author surveys better, make Discover a little bit more flexible, and also improve the speed of the app itself. So I'm going to show you that a little bit. I'll create a new survey. Initially, it looks pretty similar to how it used to, but you click here to create a new element. All of our questions are here. I'm going to go ahead and insert a text. And then this is where it changes. So you'll see this new navigation bar over on the left. And the question that I just inserted is here. Um, Over here in the center, we have a little bit of an editor area, so I can insert question text. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that from a Word document. Um, so we have that. Over here, back in the question navigation, you can hover over a question to insert another question to the page or add a new page. There's also this big button below that allows you to insert a new page. So if you click on this, the question navigation comes up again, and we can insert another question. I'll go ahead and paste in some text again, just to show how this works. Um, and then you can click, like I showed earlier, you can click on this again and add, and that will just insert another question on the existing page. So you can see over here in the preview that those questions are together. In this preview, in this editor area, you can see when I click inside of items, all of the rich text options, text formatting options are available here instead of a separate menu, which makes it super easy to customize different pieces of your text, inserting tooltips, lists, all of this. And the same options are available when you come into the uh, list items editor. Another big addition is this question settings area right here. Previously, you had to open up a separate menu, but now we've made them, we've put them in line with the question text and the list items so that you have a better overview of what your question is, the behavior of your question when you click into it. Another powerful thing that we've added is the ability to customize um, the layout of your survey. So I'm going to actually go into a different survey that is built out a little bit better just so you can see it all in action. But I've come in here, I have like a ton of questions and different elements of my survey. Um, and I can resize these panels to customize the look that I want of my authoring setup. Maybe I want live preview is more important to me, so I want that to be a little bit bigger. Can make it small if I just kind of want to peek at it over in the corner. You can see as I resize these panels, the settings go away, and up into this little tab, we have tabs at the top of every question that you can flip through. You can also close these panels. So if you just want to edit your question and that's all you care about, you can also hover over these to click and switch between things. And the same applies to preview, which is pretty nice. And then one last thing with the question navigation, you can still you still have the ability to drag and drop questions like you did before, but it's much easier now in a condensed view. When you pick up a question, it just easily moves things around. And then the same thing applies for pages. If I pick up a page, all of the questions will disappear and I'll see just a collapsed view of all of my pages, and I can drag and drop there and it will put it in the new order. But we're super excited about this new UI. If you have the chance to check it out, let us know if you have any feedback, good or bad. We'd love to hear from you. Nate, is there anything else you'd like to say?
The only other two things that came to mind were the search bar. Previously, we didn't have
Yeah,
a search bar, so you can search through your question list there. Um, Maybe just do Cane, Cane, or
yeah,
whatever. There you go.
Candy.
Candy. So the search will search across your question names, but also through the question text. And then it stays active. So you can click between those questions there, and then you just click the little X, the clear button to get it to go away. So that's a pretty handy feature for quick navigation as well. And then the last thing was just that with the settings panel for a question that has additional settings on the right there. Those are the most frequently used settings. Questions that have more extensive settings will have additional tabs up by the general and display logic tab. So yeah, like you selected max diff here. Now we have an advanced tab that has additional settings in it. So if you're looking for more settings, just look up to the tab bar there. That's it though.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're glad to share this with you. Now we'll pass it over to Kevin to show us some of the new features that we've added to Discover. Thank you.
Thanks, Skylar and Nate. My name's Kevin. I'm a software engineer here at Sawtooth. I've been working here at Sawtooth for about 6.5 years. I specialize on the front end, so I primarily work on implementing the beautiful designs that Nate and Skylar make. So, oh, and one of the things that I enjoy doing outside of work is music. I enjoy singing and playing the guitar, especially singing nighttime lullabies to my twin baby girls. So I'm going to share a couple features that we've been working on my team recently. One that was released a couple weeks ago, and one that is about to be released in the next week or so. And both of these features are centered on trying to simplify functionality that can currently be done with custom scripting, but we've got some customers that wanted to be able to do it with an easier interface. I'm a developer, so I really like code, but not everybody likes code. And so we tried to simplify a couple of these features so that it's more accessible for uh, users that are not as comfortable with those things. So I'm going to show you the first one here.
Yeah, make sure to share your screen if you haven't already. There you go.
Okay, so this first feature is something called list item display logic. And what this feature does is it gives you the ability to control what items appear in your lists in a question, dependent on logic that you can set through a UI. As I mentioned before, the software also gives you the ability to do this using custom dynamic list script, but that may not be as easy and straightforward for everyone. So I'll show an example of that really quickly just so you can kind of have a comparison. But here I've got a question in this survey that says rank the categories of holiday treats from favorite to least favorite. And I've got three categories here: baked goods, candy, and drinks. And so what I want to do next is I want to ask a follow-up question where I want to know, based on what category the respondent chose as their favorite, I want to ask them about the treats that fall into that category. And so I can do this using a dynamic list. So here I've got a follow-up question that does it with a dynamic list. But if you go to this list, you can see here that this is not the easiest for everyone. So I've got some custom JavaScript that says if the value of this question is this, then add this, and it's, kind of confusing for some. So we create an easier way to do this. So I've got another copy of this question, but I'm going to do it with list item display logic instead. And so for this follow-up question, I'm using the treats list, and you can see here all of these items. If I go to candy canes in the options here in this kebab menu, I have this new feature here. It says item display logic. So I click on that, then I see here that I have the option to add logic for this item to conditionally show it. So I'm going to add display logic here, and it gives me these logic statements. If you're familiar with skip logic or quota logic or question display logic, it's the same exact interface here. So I'm going to say display if category ranking candy is equal to 1. So that means that candy canes is going to show up if in the previous question I ranked candy as my favorite category. And then you can see here that I've got some other types of candy in my list. And if I'm lazy, I don't want to have to do the same thing I just did. So what I can do is I can say copy from another item. I'm going to copy the same logic from candy canes that I just did. And that also applies to peppermint bark. So then if I go and if I'm a respondent taking the survey, then if they had answered that candy was their favorite category, then they would see all of the items that had that logic set there. So just for sake of time, I won't show you the respondent experience, but that is how you author it. The second thing I'm going to show you is another scripting behavior that is simplified. And this is something that hasn't been released yet, but this is custom variable logic, or custom variable assignment is another way you can refer to it. So in this example, I'm just going to show you, I've got a max diff that's also based on this holiday treat theme. And something that you can't currently do with max diff is you can't segment by multiple variables in your max diff analysis. So if I go to max diff analysis and I look at here, you can see here that I can segment by world region, but I can't segment by multiple things. But what this feature gives me the ability to do is segment by region and category. So this is 2 categories here. You can do a bunch of different things with this feature just because it gives you the ability to assign any value you want to a variable, but this is just the example that I picked. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a custom variable logic element. So I'm going to add a new page, and I'm here in my add menu, and I can see here in the other section, there's this new element called variable logic. It says set variable values based on conditional logic. So I'm going to click that. And then you'll see here these same logic statements. I have to choose a variable first. So if I didn't have this variable already created, then I could create it here either using this menu, or I can also pop up in the variable manager and do it here. But I'm going to select this variable that I already have created, region and category. Then I'm going to set some logic here that says if world region includes North America, and I'm going to add a condition here, and category ranking baked goods is equal to 1, then set value to US baked goods. And I could do any number of combinations here to create more segments for this variable that are multiple category segments. So I could do world region, Europe. You get the point. Yeah, so that's just one way you could use this feature, but it's a lot nicer than if you do it in scripting, then you've got to go in here and you've got to know the code to do something like this. Region and category is equal to get value, and there's all this script you have to know. So it just simplifies that for you. And so it's really nice. That's what I had to share. So I will yield the floor to John.
Hello, everybody. I'm John. I've been at Sawtooth Software for 12 years now. And I am a software engineering manager. So I help make sure there's teams moving smoothly and trying to remove any roadblocks there. And in my free time, I like to mountain bike most recently. So today I'm going to be showing you some export and variable stuff. So previously we only had a download Excel data of all your survey data that was of your respondent data. But now there is the option to export it as an SPSS file. And so you still have the same options. You can use label text instead of numeric values for each of these. But yeah, it's in the same spot as the download Excel. And then just open it real quick and show you what they look like. So we've got all your variables from this holiday treats survey and all the data along with it. So if you need the SPSS export, then you can take a look at that and see if it meets your needs. Otherwise, give us some feedback for sure. The other item I wanted to show you was this external variables. So when you have separate data about your respondents, it's probably most valuable when you're using unique IDs. But I've got this file here that has each of these record IDs of people that took our survey here. And I have additional information about them, right? I have an age range, an income level, and this is just to show that you can use text as your variable if you like in bringing these external variables. Um, just one note here. If you're using text for these variables, obviously, if you make a change in wherever you're sourcing this data from, and change your text variable, then it is likely to throw off your data. And so we do recommend that you use numeric to keep things in track. Then you can rename things, and the first item is always going to be the first item. So we're going to import this variable, and you can see what you're able to do with it. Is that? Here we go. We'll select that file that I have here. And there's some help here that'll show you any other information about the how to format the file and what happens when you import another file after already defining some variables and things. There's some special cases that you might want to be aware of. So you can see we have our numeric variables here. I mean, they are numbers, but they come in as categorical variables, whether you put them in as text or as numbers. So we can say, all right, we know that these are some age ranges. And these would come from your other system, of course. We can set some labels for our income levels. Maybe we have this, and then you can see the ones with text. They just come in as is, and you could rename it to something else if you wanted to see it differently in the UI. But so once we've defined these variables, then you can use them like any other categorical variable like a single select response in analysis. So we're going to come here. You can use it in your max diff summary. You'll see that your new variables now show up, so you can check things and see if maybe certain age ranges are doing different things with on their holidays, and that's really important for you to know. This is random data, so don't think too much about it, but yeah, you can use it in these and anywhere we allow segmentation. And then you can also use it in a crosstab. So maybe we want to see our favorite treats by income level or something. So you can update this, and it works just like you had asked us a single select question in your survey. So yeah, we encourage everybody to take a look at that and give us any feedback that you have on that. I'll turn the time over to Josh Simpson.
All right, thanks, John. Sorry, let me just get set up here. Okay, there we go. Hi, my name is Josh. I am a senior engineer here at Sawtooth. I've been here, I want to say almost 5 years, so a little over 4. I think I'm almost 5. So I work on the Discover team, and in my spare time, I like to play piano and organ, and I do a little bit of amateur arrangements. That's kind of fun. I'm really excited to be here today to show you some of the features that my team has recently released, and give you a little bit of a sneak preview into some features that we will soon be releasing. So kind of cool. So here's the holiday treat survey, the one that you've been seeing so far by everyone else. If you are familiar with Discover or have used it recently, you may have noticed these little cube sections appearing recently in your survey. So these are actually blocks. We introduced them a couple weeks ago, and we're really excited about them. Blocks is a feature that lots and lots and lots of people have requested, particularly people coming from other survey platforms. Just for those of you who aren't familiar with blocks or maybe haven't used them, blocks are basically just sections of your survey. So it's a way to divide your survey into neat little sections. So a good example is this one right here. We've got some demographic questions, some introductory questions, and they've been grouped into this introduction block. And then, of course, we've got a candy cane block, peppermint block, etc. So these are just sections, right? And in Discover, these sections are really nice. You can collapse them, just like I'm showing here. So that, when I'm done with a block, I don't have to look at it anymore. I save that screen real estate for the stuff I'm working on. Creating a block in Discover is pretty easy. We just come down here to the end of an existing block. We've got a little arrow thing here that we can click. We say add to new block. We pick a question. So I'll just pick this drop down, for instance. You'll notice I have a block now. And then once I have the block, I can do all the usual things I would expect. So I can rename, I can move it, I can delete it. Sort of your expected management operations. So blocks are a great way to just organize your survey, make sure that it's readable, that you as an author might remember the different sections that you've got. But where blocks become really interesting is when we use them to affect the survey flow. So there's actually a pretty good example in this survey of that. So you'll notice for these like candy sections, we've actually randomized the pages for these. So in Discover, it was previously available to randomize your list items. You can also randomize your questions, but now with blocks, you can actually randomize your pages, which is kind of cool. And all of this is available for you right now in Discover. So if you go to discover.sawtoothsoftware.com, you can create blocks, you can rename them, you can delete them, you can move them. Let's sign back in. You can do all of those things that you would expect. So where I think blocks get more interesting, though, is when we actually take that out and move it up one more layer. And this is where I'm going to get into a little of the cool things that are upcoming. So you'll notice that here I'm on our development build of Discover, so the place where we test stuff before we release it. You'll notice I've got this little place up here that isn't currently in the live Discover, but will be soon. So it says questions. When I click it, I can actually click this collections button, and it actually kind of collapses my whole survey so that all I see are the blocks. And now I can make some interesting flow decisions with my blocks. So a common use case might be this. So I've got all these blocks. This is kind of a long survey. I might be worried a little bit about respondent fatigue. So, people might give candy canes, their best effort. They might answer candy canes really well. By the time they get down to mulled wine, my respondents are really tired. They're just giving me really crappy answers. And so, I'm worried about that. So I actually want, every one of these blocks to have their time to shine as the first block, so that I kind of can distribute that across all of my respondents that I get. And so to do that, we with collections, we can actually pull that off. So I might say, for the sake of the example, I'm just going to do it with the candy blocks. So I come here and I say, I want to create a collection that includes the
Josh, I'm
candy.
going to interrupt you. Sorry, your screen share turned off.
Oh, did it?
Nope, I think it was just me. Never mind. My mistake.
Okay, sorry. So I move candy canes into the collection. I'm going to go ahead and move peppermint bark as well. So we've got drag and drops actually being built for this as we speak. So move this one in as well. Just for the sake of time, I'm just going to do 3. So now I've put my candy blocks in this collection. I come up here and I say, randomize those blocks. And I'll show you it working. Always fun to showcase randomization because you never know what you're going to get. So we're going to publish the survey and then come over here and take it. I'm going to make sure I pick candy as my top item. So we make sure we get those to come right at the top here. And I'm going to pick the candy canes, the peanut brittle, and the peppermint bark here. So you'll notice that the first thing I see is peanut brittle, which is actually the third block, not the first or second. So I'm seeing the third block first. I answer these. And then I'm going to see peppermint bark, which I think was the second block, if I'm right. And then I'll see candy canes here. So you'll see that those blocks were randomized. So that's really exciting. We've got even cooler things coming up. Randomizing, just pure randomization is cool, but where things will get really interesting, and we're working on this in the near future, will be things like randomizing only a subset of these. So this might be a really long survey. I only want people to see 3 or 4 of the blocks. So that's in the pipeline, as well as display logic. So I only want people to see this block if some condition is met. And then ultimately, we are planning to integrate this with our dynamic list and custom scripting so that you'll basically be able to do whatever you want with the flow of your survey using those tools. So stay tuned in this space, and I will turn the time back over to Justin.
Thanks, Josh, and everybody else. Cool stuff. I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to show you something that's not necessarily new, but just to remind you that we do have the ability to customize the survey through custom script. And that's just also a reminder that our vision with Discover is that it will be powerful. So we're not building a watered down version of this. We're planning on a lot of power. And customizations help you go above and beyond what's built in, right? So first thing is, hey, with custom CSS, right? You can write CSS to change the visual of the survey. And I'm just going to change the size of this image. We will be building this in soon, the ability to resize images. But right now, if you target the name of the question, and then I'm saying the image tag, and I'm doing its width to 300. You'll see over here I made the image smaller in our holiday treats survey. Next thing I want to show you is we have this question here in our survey where it shows all of these different types of holiday treats. And for just for fun, I'm going to make it so that if they check gingerbread and they check gingerbread cookies and they select sugar cookies, they're going to see an error. So just a custom error message with some type of interaction here. Okay, so I'm going to click on, again, I want to see if they check gingerbread and sugar cookies, they'll see an error. So I'm going to go into settings and then custom JavaScript. Now, if you click on custom code resources, you can see our documentation and examples, but I have some code here that I'm going to copy and paste. And it might look overwhelming, but if you copy and paste, it's a little bit better. And I'll just say ChatGPT can be helpful in writing custom JavaScript. So here, the name of that question is favorite treats. And what I'm saying here with this add post validation handler, what this means is I want to run this code when they submit favorite treats. When they click on the next button and favorite treats is on the screen, then I want to run this custom code. And what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing the favorite treats fifth item there in the list, the one entered in. The items are randomized, but the item in the natural order of 5 is actually gingerbread. And I'm basically having a variable to say, was gingerbread checked? And then I have another variable here that says, was sugar cookies checked? And then I'm saying, if gingerbread is checked and the sugar cookies are checked, then I want to show an error message to the screen and not let them go by. So let's see if this works. I am going to come in here and say, lie that I live in Europe. And then I'm going to put, let's see, candy, yep, baked goods, drinks, yep. And then here, if I select sugar cookies and gingerbread cookies and Yule log, and I click next, you'll see my custom error message. You can't select both gingerbread cookies and sugar cookies. Okay. Another little customization I'll show you. Really think this is cool, and maybe you guys don't agree, but I guess I'm a nerd. But I love this ability to set variables in code. Kevin showed you very soon you'll be able to set values to variables with a drop down and a nice, easy to use drop down. But in this example, I'm going to show you how to do it in code. So the first thing I did is I set up a variable called holiday type. And my intention here is if I find out they're a candy lover, then I'm going to set holiday type to candy lover. And the way I'm going to do that is I am going to grab some custom code here. And essentially what I want to do is if they select, all the candies, so if they select 3 of the candies, candy canes, peppermint bark, peanut brittle, or caramels, if 3 of these 4 are selected, then I want to turn them into a candy lover, if that makes sense. So this is the same question, the favorite treats that I was dealing with before. And so I'm just going to use the same code I already have here to do this little customization. So up here in this area, I'm going to paste in this code here. And I have a candy score. And what I'm doing is if they select any of these candies, then I'm gonna add up a candy score. And if the candy score is greater than or equal to 3, I'm gonna make them a candy lover, right? So just some if statements here. And I have the holiday type, which is this variable in my survey. And I set it equal to the empty string, so it kind of clears it out if it has something in it on this question. And then I'm just gonna say, hey, compute a score. And maybe you're thinking there's lots of things you could apply this for, but you're making a score. And then the coolest thing about this is this line right here, holiday type equals candy lover. This saves candy lover to this variable, which actually saves it to the database. And it is now available in skip logic or to show back to the screen, or segmentation, it will be on the export. So just that one line of code, super cool. So let's see this in action. Okay, so I'm gonna say, I'm gonna check candy canes and peanut brittle and gingerbread cookies. So this shouldn't do anything, right? I'm not a candy lover. And if you click next, it moves on with the survey. But if you check peppermint bark, get rid of this one, and I'm gonna get rid of that one. So 3 candies, right? Candy canes, peppermint bark, and peanut brittle. Then now it looks like you are a candy lover. What, why do you like candy so much? And then you have this question here, and you'll see over here that I have a follow-up candy lover. I'm showing this holiday type back to the screen, and I'm also using display logic to hide or show this question if they are a candy lover. And with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Lance.
Okay, thanks, Justin. My name is Lance Adamson. I am an engineering manager at Sawtooth Software. I've been working here now for 10 years. And outside of work, I really enjoy the outdoors. I love being in the mountains. I actually live in Idaho, where Sawtooth Software originally got its name by the Sawtooth Mountains. So I'm keeping the company tradition alive up here and trying not to freeze in the winter. It's not like Australia here. So I'm going to show you a couple things real fast. The first thing I wanted to show you is tooltips. So tooltips are something that a lot of people love to use to provide additional information about things in their survey. So let's look at this here. You know what? I'm just going to do it this way because I'll be able to find it easier. So in here, we have our treats list for our survey. Each of these treats has a tooltip that you can hover over, and it will show you a picture of the text. So you can look at what candy canes look like, what peanut brittle looks like, and it really will just make your mouth water. These are really easy to do. All you need to do is come in here and you can highlight text. I will do it in another list just so that I'm not messing with that one. Let's say I have this is our list item here. And we're going to highlight this, and I want to make this a tooltip. And I'm going to say, oh, he's a jolly guy who wears red and delivers presents. Insert that, and it's easy enough. You can do images in your tooltips. You can do tooltips on images and all kinds of fancy things. The other thing that I was going to show you is a little bit more about lists, and Kevin mentioned lists earlier, kind of at the beginning. And Justin has mentioned how we really want Discover to be a powerful tool. And lists are a way that you can pull a lot of power out of Discover, and we'll continue to build on that and make lists something that provide a lot of power to our users. So let's first start with this. Down here we have a question about which of the following make the holiday season feel more special to you? And we have this list of items. And then we want to ask a follow-up question about that list. And so this in this question, we're trying to say, hey, from the items you selected in the last question, which one has the biggest impact on your holiday experience? So this is where we get into what we call dynamic lists, where we're generating lists as the respondent takes the survey. We don't necessarily know what that list will look like at this moment when we're writing the survey, but it's determined while the respondent takes the survey. It's dynamically generated. So in this particular case, where we just want to carry forward these items, the easiest way to do this without even having to think too much about this is to just say, oh, I want to carry forward items. And the question I want to carry them forward from is the holiday season special question. And I want the items that they selected. Right? We already did that, so I'm not gonna do that right here, but that's how you can use that quick carry forward option. In addition, you'll see here that you can create other lists, or you can say, I want to create a new dynamic list using these based on other lists. And I'm going to show you a few dynamic lists and how those can be handy. So I'm going to open up the list manager and come down to our treats list. So our treats list has a whole bunch of different treats on it, and there's a question at the beginning of our survey that asks about categories. So it says, hey, rank the categories of holiday treats from least favorite to most favorite. And then we have a question that Kevin showed a little bit about that does some display logic to say, oh, well, if it's your least favorite category, we're not going to show those. So I'm going to show you some things that you can do with lists to kind of organize this stuff a little bit. So if we look at our treats list, we can now make dynamic lists based on that parent list. So the treats, so I've made lists here for baked treats, and this pulls out of the treats list as its source. And all it does is add items, and the baked items are items 4 through 12 in the treats list. So now in my survey anywhere, I could use this treats baked list, and it would pull those out of the original list. And I can do the same with candy and with drinks. Just pulling the different items from the different positions of the list. The other thing that you can do with these is you can use script, similar to what Justin was showing, to define how your lists get created. So in this list, this is a pretty complex example, just to kind of show that you can really do almost whatever you want. And so the way that I've defined this list is to say, I want to add all of the items from the category that they select as their top category. I want randomly to pick 2 items from their second favorite category, and I want to randomly pick 1 item from their third favorite category. So I have some variables that I've set up here, and I'm using a function that you can find in the documentation that Justin mentioned to get the rank position, whichever item is ranked first in the category ranking question. And I do that for the top item, the second item, and the third item. So I rank 1, 2, and 3. So then I can come down here and add to my list. All of these functions are also defined in our documentation. So there's all kinds of functions that are defined for lists, and we'll continue to add to these. They're defined specifically to help you create lists like this. So I'm going to add from treats from my treats list all. This is my top ranked category, so I'm going to add everything from that category. And you'll notice that I'm calling another function here and saying it, hey, get me all the list items from my top category. And this is actually a function that I have defined in the custom JavaScript area. So you can see all of this scripting ecosystem kind of come together where I've defined that here. And I'm saying, hey, if I pass in category number 1, which is baked goods, then these are the list items that apply to baked goods. I also have here a function to get random items out of a list of items. So I can tell it how many number of items I want back, and it will take that list and only return a random subset of it. So that's roughly how this function works. It's going to say, give me all of the items from my top category, give me 2 randomly of the items from my second category, and give me only 1 from my least favorite category. And you can kind of see how that works here. So we will go to, I'm going to skip here just for time, to our category ranking question. Let's say I like drinks the best, I like baked goods least. And this is our question that is done using display logic on the items. So I'll pick 3 of these. And then this is going to be our question. So when I hit next and it starts to load the question, that's when it evaluates all that script and creates my new list. And I should see that I have 4 items from drinks, and I have 2 items from candy and 1 item from baked goods. The other cool thing about this is that you can mix and match these instructions. So in the list editor, if I come back here again and I say, okay, but I don't want them to stay in that order, I can use script to call a randomize function, or I can say, hey, I also want to randomize the items. And it will evaluate these in order. So it will run my script, then it will randomize everything that got put in the list and use that. And with that, I will cede the floor, and I believe Harrison's going to introduce himself next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Harrison Pusey. I'm a cloud engineering manager at Sawtooth. I've been here for 8 years next month. I work on the systems that you don't see that help Discover run smoothly in the cloud and make it easy for us to develop and deliver valuable new features to you. Outside of work, I've been striving recently to lower my very high golf handicap. But I'll actually turn the time over to Brian McEwen for notes on our roadmap and to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay. I'm a little early with the Happy New Year. We got to get through Christmas yet. But right now, we're all thinking about 2025 and our roadmap. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes just sharing some of the stuff that's floating around in our heads that we think internally. I mention a lot that we've got this really big pile of good. We've got Lighthouse Studio. We've got years, decades of experience, as you've heard. Sawtooth has been around for over 40 years. We know a lot of things about surveys, and especially conjoint and max diff and preference modeling and all that good stuff. So there's a lot of good things we need to do. And unfortunately, it's my main role as the product manager to make the choice on our prioritization. And it is hard to do because all the things are good and everyone wants all the things. And if you know, if you've done conjoint in the past, we run conjoint projects because we know everyone wants all the best things as fast as possible at the cheapest price. So I just thought I'd share a couple minutes. I kind of group these into 3 areas here. So the first area is just kind of question improvements. So we've got some ideas for some grid improvements to make them a little more customizable so you can control the spacing. And if you like 10-point scales a bit more than 5-point scales, making those look good by default. Justin mentioned image improvements, so sizing and alignments and things like that to make those a little easier to work with. Josh mentioned block improvements. We're going to turbocharge those and make it so that you can really easily do some fast things like pick 2 blocks for everyone to see. And then we're also going to crack it open for more advanced build your own list approaches, things like that. We are working towards scoping out looping, so you could automatically loop over a question or a block of questions based off of some type of criteria. And we want to build multi-allocation quotas. So instead of quotas being mutually exclusive groups, you'll be able to switch that off and specify that someone, for example, could increment the counter in a quota group for every checkbox in a question, or based on whatever the logic is. So all of these things together with the block improvements, looping, and the multi-allocation quotas is really going to drop quite a large improvement in power to do things like set logic on follow-up blocks based off of like a familiarity question, and then easily allow you to say, pick 2 blocks that they qualify for, prioritizing those that have been seen the least often. So we're really excited about those improvements. Then in the middle part, the stuff that I love, all the fun stuff. So adding sensitivity analysis to conjoint, nested attributes or alternative specific designs, and conditional displays to really allow the conjoint exercises to handle much more complicated designs and markets and things. Bandit Max Diff is a pretty cool opportunity to use kind of the wisdom of crowds. It's a probability-based approach where the items that are drawn for the next respondent are based off of the answers given by past respondents. So it's a really great usage when you have a very large list of items and you're primarily focused on the ones that are the best. So it's the type of situation where I have 100 Christmas cookies that I could offer people, and I really only care about the top 10. So instead of spending time on the bad options, I'm going to leverage past information in order to try to show the good stuff more and more often to really narrow down and get my top 10. Latent class, of course, gives us a segmentation approach for both conjoint and max diff. That is high on our list to add in, so you can start building your needs-based segments within Discover. And then also utility constraints is high on the list for us. So you can do things like force a model to behave a little bit better according to known preferences, like higher prices should have a lower utility than lower prices. Longer warranties should have a higher utility than shorter warranties, things like that. And then our third group is just the ecosystem, the platform. Some of the ideas that we're thinking about is adding a survey comment system so that as someone tests a survey, they can make a comment that will then show up in the authoring side of things. We have heard a lot of feedback about offering a quick and easy way for a limited dashboard so that, for example, you're working with a panel provider and they want to double check the counts that they're sending and receiving back from a survey. Email distribution and also a data API so that you could integrate with other systems and automatically pull survey data something else. And then it's the talk of the town, probably something with AI. I don't know yet. I think the most likely thing that we would do is probably something like open-end analysis, but you kind of gotta be thinking about AI right now, even though maybe a little iffy, but so that's kind of what's on the roadmap. Last, a little pitch. We want you. If you have ideas, if you have needs, if you have suggestions for us, number one, we have a Discover panel. If you want to be asked questions and help us guide the development, shoot us an email, either Brian or Justin at Sawtooth. We'll get you on the panel. If you want to have a longer discussion, we're all ears. We love talking to customers. All of that prioritization of the big list of good comes from talking with you, people who are customers or maybe not yet customers of Sawtooth. So thanks. I'll yield back to Justin.
Thanks, guys. We're at time. Please, we'll keep it running for a bit here if you want to put in some of your requests, and you have our email address. So I'm going to just, I'm going to share my screen right here real quick. Okay, yeah, just remind you of these events, right? Out in Florida, please come out to our workshop where it's warm and beautiful and fun. Brian Orm will do a great job there. In our pricing project or workshop there. We also have a webinar on the 23rd. And then please note the Sawtooth Research Conference out in May. If you haven't had a chance to play around with Discover, you can do it for free by going to discover.sawtoothsoftware.com. You pretty much have access to the entire system. We don't allow custom script in the free version, but you can collect up to 50 data records and really give it a good look. Send us in all your ideas on feature suggestions and also growth suggestions. You can email all those to justin@sawtooth.com and include your shirt size and shipping address, and we'll try to get a few of those out. With that, thanks everybody. We hope you have a happy holiday season with your loved ones, and really appreciate each of you. Happy holidays, and thanks to the team for such a great job on the presentation. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.